The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast.
Damn it.
Wow, you're pretty enthusiastic about the bells, eh?
I messed it up, man.
I don't know, you hit it twice.
Yeah, but it was like I just nicked it.
Oh. So, you been paying attention to the news?
A little bit.
Is there anything you want to talk about the news?
No.
Well, here's some things that, as I look through my list, I don't think I'm going to cover all of them, I'm not going to cover all of them anyway. But I did have a couple of funny ones. Like the first funny one was the news earlier in the week about how the co-founder of Black Lives Matter has spent oodles of money buying houses, 3 or 4 in Southern California, one in Georgia, one in the Bahamas. And it's not like, not like a shack, either like high end.
Who is this person?
It's some woman.
Okay. Like not really nice houses?
Well, they're the ones here, regardless of how nice they. Well, she bought one in Topanga.
Really?
But that's not.
You know why she bought in Topanga, right?
Because there's a whole lot of black people there.
No, because I think Kamala Harris has a house in Topanga.
Oh well, anyway, I didn't think that was that big of an issue, and then all the super right wing or all the non left leaning folks were throwing up the hypocrisy thing. Like, hey, it's so hypocritical, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you weirdos. As I've been saying to you and to you.
How many listeners?
This whole thing about trying to throw up hypocrisy into somebody else's face is a losing strategy. Number one.
Because everyone's just going to say, I am not?
We are the most hypocritical people on earth. Actually, we're the only hypocritical people on earth because everybody's a person, right? No, this species, I think hypocrisy is just kind of like dialed in. It's just part of the thing. And to sit there and tell someone how hypocritical they are, I'm just like, eh. And also, that route does not work. Okay, so this woman's supposed to be an avowed Marxist, right?
Okay.
There's nothing about Marxism that requires a vow of poverty. Marxists don't want to be poor. They want everyone else to be poor.
Yeah. Actually, the one little piece of conservative radio that I heard, they were talking about this and saying that anybody who leads a movement like that is fully expecting that they would be reaping the benefits of that movement and be in charge.
Yeah.
But, often the being in charge thing doesn't necessarily work out.
Well, it's not. It's an inconvenient truth.
But the other thing they said is that it's all going to backfire and that that the movement will turn on them. Now, I don't know if that'll happen or not.
That's probably the hope. I mean, it might take a while.
Well, they were saying it's already happening, but then I got home and turned off the radio, so I didn't hear supposedly what the examples are.
Supposedly the various Black Lives Matter chapters are kind of suing each other, or suing the main one, for a chunk of the pie. But that's just like the one guy in Atlanta who spent millions of dollars on hookers, guns, and high-end like hotels and junk like that. So,
is this another one of the BLM people?
Yeah, I don't know if that person was a founder or not, but that's beside the point. But also the left.
What was it? Hookers, guns, and what now?
High-end hotels.
Oh wow, that's If I had a whole lot of money, I don't think it would be hookers, guns, and high-end hotels.
Yeah, me neither. Mine would be strippers and burritos.
Now, for those of you who haven't gone back in the archives, that is a reference to a previous episode. If you want to go to YouTube and look for it.
Or if you don't, just know that I'm really into strippers and burritos. But I'm more into burritos than I am into strippers.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, it'd just be burritos.
So if you had to choose between a hot stripper and a burrito, you would choose a burrito?
Well, it's got to be it can't be like your bargain basement frozen burrito.
So it's got to be like like one that's like stuffed with like pork or something like
It's
that.
got to be fully dressed, and it's probably got to be wet. A wet burrito is like got some gravy on it.
Really?
Yeah.
The wet burrito just sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Oh no, that would be a wet taco, right?
Well, no. So yeah. I guess if it was a choice between a stripper and a burrito, I guess it'd have to be a wet burrito. Sour cream, lettuce, some salsa.
I just like anything, any burrito that has pork in it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
So anyway, you were talking about the BLM guy, but you're like, that's by the by. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the turning, the movement turning.
Well, but that just brings me back to my original thought about how we expect other people to toe some line that we would never toe. Like Christians are supposed to be these people that everyone can walk on.
Right.
And that's like the message. Even the people's like, I'm a Christian. Like, well, that don't mean anything to me.
So when someone says that, that doesn't mean like you don't think that they.
No.
Well, you wouldn't trust a Christian more than anybody else.
Well, I would probably trust a Christian more than I would a drug addict.
Right.
But if it was a Christian drug addict, then no.
Dave, that's so sacrilegious. Well, it's not really sacrilegious.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not saying that Jesus was a drug addict. I'm just saying, to sit there and try to give someone, we live our lives with shortcuts, right? People always think that if somebody says, I was in the Marines or I'm a Marine, you automatically think that guy's super tough.
Right.
Well, I've met a lot of Marines. I've met a lot of powder puff Marines. I've met a lot of hard Marines. But, just because you went through boot camp
doesn't make you a tough bastard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Boot camp looks hard.
It is hard. But it's not as hard as like boot camp in World War II, I would imagine.
I don't know. In World War II, weren't they pushing people through fast?
Probably. I have no idea about what World War II boot camp was like anyway, so I don't know.
Well, this is low fact.
So there you go.
So have you heard anything about the movements turning or not?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's just wishful thinking.
Anyway, we got to move on, don't we?
Biden infrastructure bill, full of pork, and just a boon for lobbyists. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, I have no commentary on that.
Oh, I did see some stuff about various folks talking about what infrastructure is. I think they have a very, very loose definition of infrastructure.
So it's not it's not planes, and I mean it's not.
It's not bridges
and bridges.
No, there's like.
I was going to say planes, trains, and automobiles, but
climate change stuff, green energy stuff.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to shut down all the nuclear and coal plants?
Well, maybe, but as a lot of the conservative people say, if you really believed in green energy, you'd go for nuclear power.
Right. That's an inconvenient truth, if ever I've heard one.
I love that phrase. Let's see, there's another thing that's not that interesting. Oh, apparently the Russians were in Ukraine, or the Russians in Ukraine are on the brink of something.
What's going on in Syria?
Probably the same thing that's been going on.
Isn't there bombing?
By who? Well,
by the United States.
I don't know.
Oh.
But, if there is, then that'd be one of the things that the media is trying to hide with riots,
right?
Or as is often called in the corporate media, mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah, except for the burning down buildings part and the killing people part.
Well, that's why I say it's mostly.
Just like what was it? That meme. The Titanic was mostly a safe journey.
Yeah.
For passengers.
Yeah, exactly right. There was a funny thing. I've been kind of getting turned on into watching Tucker Carlson because it's entertaining. But he did have a funny thing saying about the coronavirus vaccine.
Okay.
Like, okay, so if you get these vaccines, why do you have to act like that you didn't get the vaccine?
I don't get it. I don't like if we're going to be at a point in, let's say, 6 months where shit tons of people have been vaccinated, why are we still all wearing masks?
Well, that was the point. It's like, okay, so if the vaccines are supposed to help you get back to life as normal,
right,
or life as we used to know it,
right,
then why are they acting like that that vaccine is not effective?
I really don't know.
Well, nobody does. And I think recently...
Oh, that's what I heard. I heard they pulled one of them.
Well, yeah, Johnson & Johnson one? Mm-hmm. Which is also a funny thing, and that came up in some of my readings, in that, as far as we know, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine causes some dangerous clots, or they have found 6 people.
But it's not that many.
Out of 7 million vaccines administered.
Yeah, that's not many.
And they were, and a lot of these places, a lot of the articles that I've been reading was harping on, okay, but how come they don't tell you about the thousands of people that get clot issues with birth control?
Right. I heard someone at work, one of my coworkers was saying that they rushed the Johnson & Johnson. I don't know if that's true or not. That Johnson & Johnson was rushing to catch up.
Maybe.
With the other guys.
Maybe not, but I just thought that was funny. And then CNN tried to debunk the Tucker Carlson thing by having Fauci on. And Fauci didn't even answer the question because he said, oh, it's just some more of that conspiracy stuff. These vaccines are highly effective. Blah, 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 blah.
How come nobody's talking about the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that this represents for all the fucking drug companies?
Well, maybe they are, maybe they're not.
I mean, how much is it?
I don't know.
Like, what is the figure?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you know?
Not much.
You suck.
That's what I've been told. Oh, court packing plan.
Oh, the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
So what?
Well, because the Democrats want to make it 13, one for every district.
Uh-huh.
Every federal circuit. And the idea, I think, and it's to part of the issue is to scare run-of-the-mill folks who think that, these judges are toe a party line.
Uh-huh. Which is not true.
Well, no, they do toe a party line, but that's love of government, right? This whole idea that people have that you can elect members of Congress or representatives in various things that would adhere to what are considered conservative values, small government, individual freedom, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there going, so let me get this straight. You're going to look to someone who's part of a system to weaken that system.
Are you talking about judges as well?
Yes. Nobody gets appointed or elected a judge that doesn't have any standing in the community. Mm. And in order to get the standing in the community, you have to be part of the system. Mm. Right? There are a lot of places that elect judges, which I don't think they should, but that's a different discussion.
Right.
But these are all people that have worked as lawyers and become very successful.
Yep.
And then they decide to be more engaged in the government.
Yeah.
And one way to do it is to, run for election for a judge position. You don't think that these people aren't already kind of in? I mean, it's not like they're getting some person straight out of law school and saying, "Hey, you should be a judge."
Yeah.
And if they did,
I wonder if that's ever happened. Most likely never.
If they did, it would be someone who was part of the system anyway. So this whole court packing plan, scaremongering about how it's going to give the Democrats some kind of thing to have a permanent a permanent majority or whatever. And I'm just sitting there saying, well, if you think that the Supreme Court justices are going to save the day on anything, look at some of the recent decisions,
Terrible.
Yeah. So I don't think so.
I mean, they basically bowed out of any during the election. They just.
Yeah, they said, oh, this lawsuit isn't right because there's no controversy. And then after there was a controversy, it was like, oh, it's too late.
Yep.
So, okay. Oh, yeah. So President Joe's going to pull out of Afghanistan a few months after President Trump had orchestrated it. So that's supposed to be one thing. And I personally don't think it's going to happen because there's always people that are entrenched in the government that wants to keep that going on.
Like the war?
Well, something. I mean, it's been a 20-year war, and I think part of the reason why it lasted so long is because, thankfully, battlefield medicine has gotten a lot better. So people that would have died in previous wars were able to be evacuated and treated and survive.
Yeah, and then they have fucking lives that are fucking hard.
Well, that's for the super catastrophic ones, but yeah. But I think I saw something on the news where the death toll was something like 2,000 something. And in a 20-year war, look, it's a great tragedy. If your family member was one of the 2,000, then that's a big tragedy.
Yep.
But if somebody else looking at it who doesn't have any skin in the game, they'd be all like, "Well, there's only 2,000 people."
Right.
That's just like the shootings, police shootings. The thing that always gets thrown around is like the number of unarmed black people who were killed by the police, like last year or whatever it is, but I forget the year that they pick. But it's very recent. It's something like 20.
Huh.
And lots of people believe that it's significantly more than that. But like I said, if you're a family member of one of the 20, that's an incredible tragedy.
Right.
If you're anybody else,
it doesn't mean all police are just out there shooting black people.
Well, that's the thing that people kind of do, right? I mean, everybody's painted with the worst brush.
Wait, but if the police are shooting more white people, does that mean that they hate white people?
Maybe. But it could also just mean that Caucasians represent a more significant portion of the population.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
People...
Yeah, they never talk about the percentages of...
I mean, the country's...
a particular race when they talk about those numbers.
The country's 13% black.
Okay.
But black people overwhelmingly represent, people that are incarcerated.
I saw a thing about the shooting.
Which one?
The 13-year-old boy.
I saw something that said that they edited that the news outlets edited the video to make it, like, cut out the part where he actually had a gun.
Right.
Now, I believe that it wasn't... I don't know.
He did have a gun, but they had it blurred out in the footage I saw.
Well, that's misleading.
But he looked like he'd stopped. Like he didn't look like he was pointing the gun, but he was definitely holding a gun.
Yes. And, that's misleading. And I don't know if there's any way to get the full story.
No.
I
mean, the footage I saw was very unsatisfactory in terms of giving any kind of background or indication of what happened, what was going on. And when they described it, like, nobody laid it out. Nobody said this is what happened.
Well, it's kind of hard to. We live in that's the whole point of that movie by Kurosawa, Rashomon.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
Is it 4 or 3 different perspectives?
Rashomon?
I forget, yeah.
Dude, it's been over 2 decades since I've seen that movie.
I think it's at least 3. It might be 4.
But that's the point. You just don't know.
No.
And
there's no time.
Hmm?
There's no time for anyone to sit there and, I guess on a podcast or something maybe.
Well, there is, but that's the thing is no one's really interested in
the inconvenient truth.
The actual truth.
I just wanted to say inconvenient truth again.
That's fine. That's fine. And one more thing that I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, Project Veritas.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, they're that group that always goes out and gets people to admit stuff on camera, hidden camera.
Oh yeah.
I guess
the right wing guys, right? Right, conservative.
I guess you could say. I'm not sure, but they do have very entertaining videos of people admitting some really stupid stuff, and then later on it's like, gotcha. And one of them was some executive or somebody at CNN pretty much bragging about how they manipulated the public to get Donald Trump
beaten.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And how they lie about stuff and whatnot. And then there was another thing. I don't know if it was Veritas or not, but another thing that kind of that claims the whole Russia bounties for the Afghans made up.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
That story was made up. And I think I didn't read the article, but there was one article.
So was this all part of the same interview?
No, I don't know. That part I don't know.
This is different.
This is different. But I did read, I saw a headline about something that said maybe Liz Cheney was one of the people that was putting forth that story. What?
Why would Liz Cheney be putting forward that story?
She's part of the establishment.
Oh.
She is a very junior member of Congress, and she's like number 3 in the congressional leadership because her name is Liz Cheney.
Uh-huh.
Elected in Wyoming when she lived most of her life in D.C.
Oh.
You know who her dad is, right?
Dick Cheney?
Yes. Someone who's been in government since the Ford administration.
Is she the one that's a lesbian?
I don't know. No, probably not.
His daughter was a lesbian.
He has 2.
Oh, okay. Maybe this is the one that isn't a lesbian?
Uh,
Not that it matters, but I'm just curious.
I don't think it really matters, but...
Oh, it doesn't. I'm just curious, because I only knew of one daughter.
I think she is the non-lesbian daughter.
Okay. Because wasn't there a movie with Dick Cheney, where someone played Dick Cheney?
What's his face? Batman.
Batman? Oh, yeah. Was it Christian Bale?
Yes.
I didn't see it.
He got an award for it.
Because it was probably negative.
What are you talking about? You didn't see it? I think we've watched it.
Maybe.
Didn't it have Amy Adams in it?
But did it have his daughter in it? Or was there 2 daughters in it?
I feel so bad that I watched this movie and I can't remember, but yes, I believe there was other daughters.
Okay, alright. Now that I've fucking ruined the podcast.
What else is new?
Yeah.
So now comes the theory portion of our discussion.
Pièce de résistance.
I don't know if it's that, but... So, a lot of people are kind of scared, and rightly so, that things are just going to kind of devolve, and, there's going to be great pain, beating of breasts and gnashing of teeth, if you want to use the King James Version of the Bible language, about what's going to happen to society and our culture here and in the world. And that made me think about something. I think that there is a statistically significant portion of the population, like maybe 15% at most, of people out there that are just trying to get along in society that aren't really necessarily living up to their potential. People will see other people will see these people and say, wow, that person's got so much whatever. I don't see why they're not doing better.
Right.
And I thought about those people, and I'm like, those are the people that will really shine when outright anarchy, when stuff is really tough.
The people that are... Oh, yeah, the people that are...
The people where you sit there and go, I don't understand why this person's not doing better.
Right.
They're people that...
Well, there might be people like that doing better right now. Already.
Maybe. But I was just kind of thinking, these are people that don't engage in sociopathic behavior. And what I mean by that is, lying, cheating,
right.
Violence, just doing whatever to get ahead.
Yeah.
These are people that don't do that. Not because they can't, not because of any kind of fear. They just choose not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And these are also people that are highly sought after when times are hard. In any organization, there's those go-to people when the crap has hit the fan and stuff is really tough. You want these people out there just working their butts off.
Right.
Or as one woman that we knew said, working someone's tits off, which I thought was a funny statement.
It's a good expression.
And they happen to just pull it out. When things are tough, they just pull it out. They work miracles, it seems.
Right.
But when times are good, nobody wants to talk to them. It's kind of like the SWAT team, kind of like Special Forces. I think that if things get really bad, those people are going to start coming out of the woodwork, and you better hope that you know one of these people because they're going to help you.
So you best find those people before it's too late. No, I just don't get how people feel like they want this to happen.
Well, they
keep on harping on about the revolution's coming, change is coming, resist all that stuff. And I'm like, it's not going to be good for a lot of people.
And have you noticed a lot of those people are actually people that are doing pretty well?
It's doing great.
Before the revolution.
They're like the vulture. They're the vultures that have come in and have fed on all the people that aren't doing well.
These people are people. Things are doing. Things are going pretty well for those people.
I mean, I guess calling them vultures is a little bit strong, maybe.
And I think that they think that if when the proverbial crap hits the proverbial fan, these people that are fomenting whatever think that they're going to be in charge.
See, I would love to have a fuck it attitude, but I really don't.
But in a true revolution, which I don't think very happens very often, in a true upending of the scales, turning over of the table, most of us, actually all of us, probably are not going to be doing as well as we're doing now. But I think that statistically significant portion of the population, they're going to be coming into their own.
Wow. Do you have are you willing to put a low fact guesstimate on what percentage of the population this might be?
At most 15, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
At most 15.
I thought it might be lower, but
it could be. But these are all people that
you probably need 15% in order for it to be feasible.
Maybe, but these are people that everyone knows someone. Everyone thinks that they might know someone because it's the person that seems super smart,
right?
Or super has a lot of ability.
I can think of a candidate.
But it just, things just don't seem to be working out the way that you would think based on the conventional wisdoms, right?
Yep.
And while those people might be candidates, even among those people, I think it's probably at most 15%. So you might know a bunch of people who seem super smart, super with it and all that, and just things aren't really working out for them. Mm-hmm. Even among those people that you know, I think 9 of them aren't the type of person I'm talking about.
So these people are going to need guns to take over or something?
No. There's plenty of guns. There's plenty of everything.
Fucking too many guns.
What's going to be needed is the opportunity.
Well...
And we can end with this thing. Again, I it came from Tucker. Like I said, I've been watching him a lot. But I find him annoying. The whole defund the police... Mm-hmm. His theory on that was, they talk about defund the police, but what they want to do is defund local police. Right now, the police are hired in, the communities are the ones that hire them, and they're pulled in from the community.
Right.
So to speak. From the locality.
Right.
The defund the police people don't want to get rid of police. They want nationalized police.
Oh, that sounds really fucking dangerous.
Well, that's akin to having an army.
Yeah, let's just have the Stasi.
Well, even the Stasi was a small portion of the national East German police.
Right.
I'm against nationalized anything, number one, because, truth be told, we're basically 50 countries.
Hey, I saw a funny meme. Sorry.
If you saw a funny meme, tell me what it was, and then I'll tell you about my funny meme.
All right, so the meme I saw was about, basically it was like people who call, it's funny when somebody who calls everybody a fascist is quite happy to have everybody asking, having to have papers, present their papers.
Well, that's just an inconvenient truth.
So on the one hand, they're calling people a fascist, but then they're
because they are.
Yeah, I'm all for everybody having to have fucking papers to go everywhere.
Like I was telling you before, there are certain things that are true. Most people, and I'm going to say over 90%, when they say they are something, like I'm smart, or I'm generous, or I'm, stupid, I'm going to say that at least 90%, potentially more, they don't believe it. They don't believe that statement.
It's just aspirational. Is it?
Well, on the stuff that's good, on the stuff that's bad, it's just, self-deprecating. They don't believe that. There are people that when they say, I'm a thug, they are. But because out of every 100 people that would say something like that, only 3 are actual thugs.
Right.
Then, it's kind of hard to keep. So it's not necessarily converse, but a corollary to that is also true. the people that call other people names, like,
Right.
hey, you're a fascist, hey, you're an authoritarian, hey, you're racist, hey, you're stupid. Chances are that's just a projection. And we will leave with my funny meme,
Okay.
which I want to see on a t-shirt so I can buy it.
Is it fuck it?
No, you know those hand extenders, those, they look like big long canes and there's a trigger, like a big trigger at the end.
Yeah, you use it if you're like
and when
super fat.
And when you pull it, it helps you grab stuff like from the floor or on high places.
Right.
I saw a meme with a Tyrannosaurus Rex holding 2 of those and it said unstoppable.